Hello friends, welcome back to Chindu HR Studio. A new concept-based HR channel will help you to rise in your career. In today's topic, I'm going to cover about labor legislations with practical explanations part 4, Code on Industrial Relations 2020. So today's question number 4 is, who is in this picture? What his main contributions to labor community? Answer for question 3 is Max Weber, a German sociologist, introduced the concept of bureaucracy in the management thought. In today's topic, we are going to cover about Code on Industrial Relations Introduction, World and Indian Industrial Relations Scenario, Formulation of Code on Industrial Relations, Brief Arrangements of Sections, Chapters and Schedules, New Changes in the Code, Practicality and Applicability of the Code. So let's begin the show. So what is the Code on Industrial Relations Introduction? In the name itself describing the relations in the industry, so after wages and social security the concept of industrial relations will arise, because if everything is fine, the relations between management and workforce will also be fine. In this code only 3 laws are covered, which are very complex laws to enforce in any establishment, and licensing of the same also takes more time to handle the situations inside and outside of the organizations. So when it comes to industrial relations are based on various situations. So today one situation is there and tomorrow another situation will arise. So we need to cope up the every situation based on the situation and its consequences. So because of this complexity, these 3 laws are very more important in any industries. So in this code, the consolidates and amends the laws relating to trade unions, conditions of employment in industrial establishment are undertaking, investigation and settlement of industrial disputes. The code combined and simplifies the 3 central labor laws. So what are the central labor laws are? The Trade Union Act 1926, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946, the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. When it comes to world and Indian industrial relations scenario, industrial relations was not only we discuss about the relations between labor and management, it also deals with the discipline, cordial and healthy atmosphere in any organization. As per my knowledge, the industrial relations are strict in earlier days of industrialization, whereas now become liberal in organization as intervention of multiple management and decentralization efforts. In the early days of industrialization in UK, the employer and employee relationship was mainly based on mutual contract agreement, and most of the supply and demand of labor was regulated with this relationship. If any dispute arises in between these parties, the agreement between them will come into picture. No government intervention will be in these disputes. That is what is called laissez-faire policy of government. So earlier days in the United Kingdom, like our earlier rulers who are there, uh, as you all know that industrial relations was started in UK, and it came into very high margin in the time of World War II. So in UK, the relationship between employer, a worker or a owner, whoever it may be, will be on the paper basis. So when a single paper, a worker will sign on that paper and will do the work. If there is any miscommunication or misconduct will comes between these two parties, so what are the paper which have signed with the worker or labor will came into picture. Mostly in this process, labor will be deprived and will be weakened section, and the owner or management will be the stronger section. So due to this impact, the relations become very weakened for the employee, as I said earlier, or labor side, and stronger in the employer side. And it became an unbalanced relationship, which leads to decrease of productivity, economy, nation interest itself of the various countries. So hence the intervention of government took place in this in the interest of increase in the market competition, economy and public at large. The state intervention in the industrial relations was first stated in Australia through Commonwealth Conciliation and Arbitration Act 1904. So this is the first act which came into force on 1904, sorry, in 1904 in Australia. So when it comes to industrial adjudication process, Australia is the first one. When we think about the Indian perspective, the earlier days we used to copy the industrial relations in the UK. So what UK follow, we have to follow that also because of that time ruling and all. So even though we have a Trade Dispute Act 1921, and due to exploit of World War II, continuous lockdown, strikes, and rigorously changing world economics, our India became very poor and failed to control the chaos in our country. So that time British Indian government passes the Defense of India rules in the year 1939. In that rules, number 81A has the power to government to compulsory adjudication of industrial disputes to the industrial court. So from that day, the intervention of government became very compulsory for the adjudication of any industrial disputes. Before it lapsed, actually it was enacted up to another 6 months from the date of ending of war. So before it expiry, the government introduced the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 and incorporated the same rule under the section of that act. So this created our Indian industrial system in a tripartite model, like employee, employer and the government. At the same time, Indian constitution also gives some worker right under the article 19(1) class C, right to form an association, what we called. In the year 1946, to regulate the conditions of services and bring the disciplinary function of any establishment, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act was passed. More detailed concept actually I will discuss about in industrial relations separate video. So what are the various definitions of industrial relations? The well-used definitions of industrial relations are: industrial relations is that field of study which analyzes the relationship among the management and the employees of an organization at the workplace and also provides a mechanism to settle down the various industrial disputes. According to Dale Yoder, industrial relations is the process of management dealing with one or more unions with a view to negotiate and subsequently administers collective bargaining agreement or labor contract, what we called. According to John T. Dunlop, industrial relations in the complex interrelations among managers, workers and agencies of the government. Formulation of Code on Industrial Relations. The Code on Industrial Relations are recommended by Second National Commission of Labour under the chairmanship of Sri Ravindra Verma in the year 1999, formed and submitted its reports in the year 2002. On 22nd September 2020, the bill was introduced by Central Labour Minister in the Lok Sabha, and the same day it was passed. On 23rd September 2020, the bill was passed in Rajya Sabha. Finally, on 20th September 2020, the bill got assent of Sri Ramnath Kovind, our Honorable President, and the enforcement date and conditions of rules yet to be published. But actual date of its enforcement and rules yet to be formed also. What are the sections and chapters and schedules of this code? This code comprises of 14 chapters with 104 sections. As usual, first chapter deals with the preliminary, like various definitions explained as normal act will have. Second chapter deals with the bipartite forums, works committees and grievance redressal committee. Third chapter deals with the trade unions, registration, recognition and other matters connected or incidental thereto. Fourth chapter deals with the standing orders. Fifth chapter deals with the notice of change. Sixth chapter deals with the voluntary reference of disputes to the arbitrator. Seventh chapter deals with mechanism for industrial dispute resolutions. And eighth chapter deals with strikes and lockouts. Ninth chapter deals with layoff, retrenchment and closures. 10th chapter deals with special provisions for establishment with regard to retrenchments and layoff. 11th chapter deals with worker reskilling fund. 12th chapter deals with unfair labor practices as per second schedule. 13th chapter deals with offences and penalty. 14th chapter deals with miscellaneous provisions. And as an annexer, this code have 3 schedules. First schedule deals with matter to provided in industrial standing orders under the code. Second schedule deals with unfair labor practices on 3 parties like employer, worker and the union. Earlier this schedule was the 5th one in ID Act 1947. Third schedule deals with the notice of change in working conditions. What are the new changes took place in this code? Industrial Relations Code 2020 introduced more conditions for workers to strike, the threshold relating to layoffs and retrenchment in industrial establishment having 300 workers from 100 workers to provide more flexibility to employer for hiring and firing workers without government permission. So there is some freeness given to employers, but of course even though freeness is giving, there are government embedded provisions also has to be taken care by the employers by the code. The proposed legislation provides for a broader framework to protect the rights of workers to form unions, to minimize the friction between the employer and workers, and to provide provisions for investigation and settlement of industrial disputes. Industrial Relations Code amends the definition of strike to mass casual leave. If over 50% of a company's workers take concerted casual leave, that means total casual leave, they have taken at one day 50% of the workforce of any company, it will be treated as a strike. However, workers cannot go to strike without a 60-day notice. Incorporated a new fund called Reskilling Fund. For workers, those are retrenched from services, a 15-day salary of lost on wages of that worker to be paid by the employer within the 45 days of retrenchment. The minimum workers for layoff and retrenchment now increased from 100 to 300. Appointment of negotiating unit council was incorporated in this code, which says that employer will elect the negotiating unit council for collective bargaining and other related matters. If more than one union is there, 50% of the membership or more membership having union will be the negotiating union. Industrial tribunal is now having two members instead of one member earlier. One will be judicial and one will be the administrative. Definition of fixed term contract also covered under this code, and all conditions will be same as permanent employee will be enumerated in this code. That means fixed term contract, there are some employees, workers will be there. So as equal to permanent workman, this fixed term contract workers or employees has to be treated for conditions of service, any other related issues, whatever it may be. The individual termination, retrenchment and dismissal will treat industrial dispute as per new code. Under the ID code, the definition of industry specifically excluded the following: institutions owned or managed by organizations wholly or substantially engaged by any charitable, social or philanthropic services, or any activity of the appropriate government relatable to the sovereign functions of the appropriate government, including all the activities carried on by the departments of the central government dealing with defense research, atomic energy and space, or any domestic services or any other activity as may be notified the special central government. So under this ID Act, under the ID Act which was earlier, several the other establishments such as hospitals, educational, scientific institutions, etc., which were earlier excluded, have now been withdrawn from the list of exceptions under this definition. That means hospitals, educational, scientific institutions, etc., are covered under this Industrial Relations Code. Grievance Redressal Committee is now compulsory where two or more workers are working, limited to 10 members. In every grievance redressal committee, the maximum number will be the 10 members. The definition of a worker has been expanded to include within its ambit working journalist as a defined of Section 2F of the Working Journalist and Other Newspaper Employees Conditions of Service and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1955, and Sales Promotion Employees as defined Section 2 of the Sales Promotion Employees Conditions of Service Act 1976. Further, the persons employed in a supervisory capacity and earning less than the rupees 18,000 per month or any amount as notified by the central government have been brought under this definition. So the worker definition was widened and give fruits of this code to each of worker force. What is the practicality of this code? The new Industrial Relations Code has a new classes and redefined earlier provisions, being so much changes in IR scenario. The new Grievance Redressal Committee is compulsory if 20 or more workers are working. This gives more responsibility to various HR departments to handle the individual grievances in a proper manner and redress them in a proper channel. The new Reskilling Fund is a good move towards the employee or worker side to enable them to get some monetary benefits in case of retrenchment by the employer. Compared to the earlier, the minimum employees required to take permission is 100. New code enhances this minimum requirement to 300 for factories, mines and plantation industry. The new employee term called fixed term contract inserted in this code, and the payment and other related conditions will apply same as permanent employees. The few minutes back we have discussed the same fixed term contract. So the management must check before applying any person in fixed term contract. The minimum notice before going to strike enhances from 14 to 60 days. We'll give management to meet and discuss with the workers or unions for resolve the same with discussions also before going to strike. Standing orders applicability also increases from 100 to 300, which gives some freeness to various organizations and managements. The easy and limited documentation also help the management to reduce time and money for compliances. So when all laws or maximum laws are come into code, that means the documentation or returns also liberalized also. So in future we may get that rules and various frameworks of the returns also. The court of inquiry, labor courts and national tribunals were withdrawn in this code, and a single or bench of industrial tribunals will have corresponding jurisdiction in this code, and divided various matters pertaining to industrial tribunals and bench of tribunals will reduce the steps of adjudication also. The appropriate government shall constitute national industrial tribunal if the importance of the case lies with the two or more states. Applicability. The applicability of this code will comprise of three industrial laws as mentioned earlier. Apart from that, enhanced definition of the industry will bring the various new industries and establishment under this code, and applicability increases. The enhanced worker definitions and wage ceiling will bring more workers under this code, and that means applicability also become very high. The code applies to maximum industries and workers apart from the limited earlier laws. So summary. In today's topic, we learned the introduction of code on industrial relations, the concept of IR in India and world perspective, formulation of code, new changes in code, brief arrangements of various sections, chapters and schedules of the code, practicality and applicability of the code. So we are going to end this video with the Swami Vivekananda quote. Swami Vivekananda once said that in a day, when you don't come across any problems, you can be sure that you are traveling in a wrong path. So as per this quote, the moral of this quote is to be every day is a challenge. Every day you have to face so many problems. If you don't have any problem on that day, that means you are going in a wrong path. That means problems are the stepping stone of any success. One should overcome the problem with vision, hard work and commitment. So on my next video, I'm going to discuss about labor legislation with practical explanation part 5 on occupational safety and health workers code 2020. Please share, like and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. This picture actually taken from my profile. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.